Welcome back to a brand new news video. In today's video, what I got for you guys, we're going to be going over every single patch note you need to know about the brand new Season 2 Reloaded update. We got a lot of weapon tuning, we got buffs, we got nerfs, we also got adjustments to attachments and adjustments to equipment such as grenades. So let's just jump into it. So the first thing that we have is going to be the ARs, and that is going to be the STB556. It got one change. It says added minimum damage against armor, which limits bullets to kill at the furthest range. I feel like that's a nerf, but they're labeling it towards neutral. Next category that we have are the LMGs, and 3 of them got adjusted, and that is first the raw MG. It got a huge nerf. They reduced the far damage range, they reduced the headshot damage, and then they reduced the upper torso damage and increased the recoil. And the buff that they did was small increase to close range damage. So that was like the new meta weapon after the RPK, and they nerfed that. The RPK also got another nerf, reduced the walking speed, and then they also reduced the muzzle velocity. The next thing that we have is the Sakin. That one also got a nerf where they reduced the damage range. So those are all of the LMG changes. The next one that we have is going to be for the crossbow, which is a neutral change. Increase the time period to trigger double kills for challenges, so that way it gives you just a little bit more time to get double kills. But the next one that we have is the MX9 for the submachine guns. It got a buff which increased the mid damage range. The BASP got a nerf and a buff which increased the sprint to fire time and also increased the damage range. And then the PDSW got a buff, slightly offset weapon while ADS using iron sights to improve visibility. The next SMG that we have is the Vel 46. They increased the close damage ranges, and for the 30 round mag, fixed attributes on 30 round magazine to improve handling and the mobility. And then the next one that we have is the Lockman sub, which I think is probably one of the best SMGs in the game. They also did a nerf and a buff. They reduced the movement speed, but they reduced the ADS speed as well, and they improved recoil control. So I feel like this is probably going to be the best SMG in the game, and I'll have a loadout for you guys if you guys are interested in that in another video. And then the KV broadside, as we talked about before, was going to get a nerf. They only did one, which reduced the lower torso damage, so that way it doesn't kill as fast anymore. And then for the attachments relating to it, they nerfed that a lot more. So the 12 gauge slug reduced damage ranges, reduced close range damage, and then for the Dragon's Breath, reduced damage ranges, reduced close range damage, global reduction to 12 gauge, Dragon's Breath maximum residual damage, and then for the 12 gauge explosive, reduced damage ranges, and they also reduced the close range damage. For the last two weapons that we have, which are the other shotguns, the Bryson 800 got a buff and a neutral change, increased the headshot damage on all slug type ammo, so they buffed that a little bit. And then the neutral, they added minimum damage against armor. Same thing with the Bryson 890, they increased headshot damage on all slug type ammo and then added minimum damage against armor. So these are all of the different changes and weapon adjustments that we have for this brand new update. The next thing that we have right here is they also ended up doing the same thing with the different attachments that we have in the game. Now, to summarize it for you, I'll put in a photo so that way you can see the exact details, but since there's so many, I want to summarize it for you. So the first thing is if there's anything incendiary related or shotgun related other than the slug ones, they typically ended up getting some sort of a nerf because they were very overpowered. Those fire shotguns were getting out of hand. The next thing is everything else ended up seeing some sort of a buff. So what they're doing is they're adjusting it, so now when you tune your weapons, you're not seeing as big of a penalty. For example, if I have a Lockman sub and I put on all the same attachments and I tune it correctly and you end up tuning it incorrectly, it will actually make the biggest difference. Instead of it being very overpowered, it can actually be very bad. So they're trying to minimize that so that way everyone else is able to get the perfect classes and perfect loadouts without seeing that huge drawback from tuning them incorrectly. But anyways, next thing that we have is going to be the equipment buff. So frag grenades, claymores, and semtexes now deal more damage against armor, so potentially there's a chance that it will one-shot you. But anyways, the next thing that we have is going to be the audio changes. They have submix fixes that were affecting enemy footstep volume. They have equalized sand footsteps to better cut through the mix similar to dirt and concrete. Fix the issue that caused war tracks to randomly stop playing when active in a vehicle. Fix the issue preventing the war tracks of a patrol boat's driver from being heard while in the boat turret. And then the next thing is the UI. So this one is very good. The update requires restart issue. So if the title requires a restart due to an update, it will restart automatically. So now you don't have to sit there and wait for it. I think it already does that on PlayStation, but it doesn't do that on PC. But the next thing is they have new menus. So all new menus for weapon and camo challenges. So that is going to be for the event that we have going on right now. And they also added a store tab for players to see all available bundles for a specific weapon. So if you're trying to buy the Tempest Torrent or something like that. And then they also have a new party queuing feature, which party queuing allows players to automatically join a friend's party once they are finished with their active match. Just like inviting friends to a party or channel, you can access party queuing via the in-game social. And then going on to the next thing that we have is a bunch of different bug fixes. Like, I'm talking hundreds. So I'm just going to show you guys a bunch of different screenshots. You can feel free to pause it to check them out, but there's just too many that I wouldn't be able to go over all of them right now in one video. But there's just a bunch of different fixes, from things like kill streaks to equipment to field upgrades to the UI to the social to the vehicles. There's just so much going on. Even with PC settings, they also ended up getting some things like that. But the next thing that we have is accessibility, which are the inverted flashes. You can now go into your settings and go to invert flash to turn that on, and that will make your flashes black rather than white, so that way they're not as blinding and as annoying. But the next thing that we have, they also did some changes to special ops. So in general, they added a new fill bar for last stand and dog tags to match battle round, provide additional clarity for down teammates, and then added new challenges. They fixed the issue with equipment UI, and then they also did a lot of other different things where they fixed a bunch of bug fixes and issues. And then the same thing with Adam Grad Raid episode, which is the first one. They did changes to it. For example, a weapon XP token is now unlocked for each completion of the raid. So now if you want to farm XP tokens, you can just keep completing these raid missions, although they'll take a while. You'll get one every single time you complete one. They also added one camo to the regular loot pool. They added additional clarity in the AAR for all raid related unlocks, including operator unlocks, veteran completion unlocks, and random rewards. Added a kit select to allow players to modify their kits in game. Added clarity to which rewards are unlockable. Remove raid assignment requirements so players can easily queue through the party finder. And then added unique classified reward types. So there's just a little bit more rewards. Once I know exactly what these rewards are, I'll make a video and I'll let you guys know exactly what they are. They added also a vote to skip functionality, and then they fixed some issues with the oxygen tanks. But going into multiplayer, they didn't really do an insane amount of bug fixes. They really just focused on rank play and then the brand new content that was added, which were the new game modes, and then we got Himmelmat as the new map. But for rank play, here's what they did. So they had some restrictions. The following has been restricted in ranked play to match updated Call of Duty League rules, which is weapon tuning. They've taken that out completely. And then the cast-off 7.62 AR is now restricted as well. And players should notice that existing weapon tuning will revert to default options in-game, but we recommend that you review your classes before your first match. And then the quality of life, they improve visual feedback when a match is canceled because a player left within the first 30 seconds. Skill division rewards screen now displays rewards from all divisions by default. And then I added top 250 profile images for a handful of CDL Pro players who were previously missing them. And then they did some bug fixes where they fixed issues that prevented players from selecting the CDL operators and equipping them as earned ranked play skins, addressed visual bugs, and then fixed the issue that was occasionally causing an unintended suspension after backing out mid-search. So the next thing that we have is going to be for Warzone. They did a lot of quality of life updates. For example, killstreak availability. The existing airspace too crowded message will now have a trailing something seconds attached to it for adding better context to players, so you'll know when to be able to call it in. Cluster strike and precision airstrike improvements. They've improved the airstrike danger notification to be more consistent based on each damage location. They also improved the directional tracing to prevent the precision airstrike targeting from sometimes landing behind the players. And then players will now be notified when calling a cluster strike or precision if they are too close to the affected zone. And then they have give up timer consistency. The give up timer while down is now more consistent across modes, and it will last at least 3 seconds. And they have navigation pings, increase the scale of navigation pings on the attack map and mini map. Armor break, the text has been removed from armor break notification when breaking all opponents' armor plates to improve clarity. And then auto looting armor plates. So as we mentioned, this happened before, but they're doing it again, where players will automatically pick up armor plates if you have available space in your inventory, because they see that that is like the most important thing. And then they have spawn protection will now disable at 25 meters, up from 19 meters from the ground or a grounded player in battle royale mode. We will continue to refine as we move forward to give importance to this feature to redeploying players. And then the resurgence kill feed will now display who is about to redeploy when the resurgence timer hits 0. And then they did some UI updates, so the spectating friendly pings and splash screens are now visible to the spectators, and the gas mask loot cards are gonna show more accurately how much health is in the gas mask left. And then they did a couple bug updates, so fixed some issues causing the rainbow to glare, and then attack map and mini map, they fixed the issue with that. And then jumping on to the next thing is going to be the content. So for the content side of things, Warzone as of right now is going to have the 30-year anniversary, which are the event. I'm probably going to make another video just explaining these in more details because this video is already long enough. But for the 3rd year anniversary, there's going to be a bunch of different calling cards and rewards that you'll be able to get in the store. Next thing is they're doing a mini map update for St. Patrick's Day, and that will be on Al Mazrah. And once you see that mini map update, there's going to be a rainbow, and the new content is at the end of that rainbow, there's going to be a sniper you'll be able to use, and it is a one-shot sniper. So if you pick it up, you'll be able to one-shot everybody with it, and it's the only one that you'll be able to do that with. The playlist update, you'll now be able to play any size that you want, so that way you'll be able to play solos or duos or trios, whatever it may be on Resurgence. The next thing is also bomb drones have been disabled, and in general they're doing pacing balances for Al Mazrah, so that way they're trying to make it so the game is still more consistent throughout the entire thing. I'll show you guys a photo of that. And then they also did some gameplay adjustments to Al Mazrah with the light helo. They disabled that in solos, and then the contract availability increased the number of contracts revealed over the course of the match. And then final circles are disabling the final circles in the northwestern sector of the map while they work on improvements in that area. And then for Ashika Island, they did redeploy drones are currently active, and then AI combatant departures as Path of Ronin event comes to the end. The Shadow Company operatives, they're not going to be spawning in as often, but the challenges will still be available there for you to do. And then the circle balancing, the first circle will approximately be 20% larger, so that way there's more land because they're sick and tired of people going into the water, I guess you could say. And then the buy station availability improvements have been made to better spread the buy stations more evenly through the map. And in terms of DMZ, we don't really see that much updates, but they're promising us there's going to be a lot of content coming in. They said players are no longer needing to bring the Building 21 access card into the match by equipping them prior to infiltration. At least one player in a squad must have a Building 21 access card in their inventory to allow infiltration. If a player does infill into Building 21 with an access card in their backpack, they will lose that card if they do not extract with it. This change only impacts Building 21 access cards and nothing else. And then they said enemy combatants in DMZ can now operate or arrive in a variety of vehicles, not just the armor truck. And then they said we have added some variations to infiltrate and exfiltration points. Destroy supply contracts have been updated to reveal the 4 closest safes instead of revealing all safes within the distance. And then reduce the total number of vehicles in Modern City for more even distribution of vehicles throughout all Al Mazrah. And then enemy combatants now have a small chance to drop upgraded weapons upon death. So instead of dropping like the typical RPK and the Kasov and all that, they might drop some better loot this time around. But they also did some bug fixes, and that's pretty much everything you need to know in the patch notes. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll probably make another video where I cover the events and the new content and stuff like that. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. It's been your boy Tridzo. Hopefully I'll be seeing you guys again. Peace.